Welcome to Week 8 college football. This is Jack and Jack with the Pocket Jacks podcast coming back at you with another week. We enjoyed ourselves a weekend down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where we got to watch LSU take on South Carolina at home at night. It was pretty unbelievable. We had an absolute blast just winging it down there. Didn't really know what to expect going in, but we had as much fun as we possibly could have had and more. So we are excited for week 8. Week 7 brought not only our trip, but a fantastic week of college football in the rest of the country. Jack, you want to break down some of the action we saw last week? Maybe starting with your old Cougs? Almost shocking the world. They shocked me, but they didn't cap it off.
Yeah, I mean, I think they shocked everybody. Round of applause for the Cougs. I know we lost that game. We brought what looked like 5,000 fans to the game, making a bunch of noise. And at first, we were up 7-0 in the first quarter, and I was thinking, oh, okay, this is a cute story. At least we showed up. And then we were winning in the fourth quarter and also had the ball down 3 with a minute to go. So I don't think this was some little old scare for Ole Miss. We actually had them on the ropes. They were scared. Lane Kiffin, his post-game press conference made me laugh out loud for about 15 minutes last night from how pissed off he was. But it's about as much hope, I think, as anybody's ever had after a loss. But it really makes me think the Cougs got the right guy at the coach. I'm happy to see it. We're playing hard. And what a day to be a Coug. I know it was a loss. My phone was blowing up. I think it was, if they won that game, it would have been a bigger upset than UCLA Penn State. Shout out to Palouse. Shout out to Cougs. Go Cougs always. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was awesome. We were sitting there watching it as much as we could until it was kind of out of reach, and then it was time to go to campus. The other big one, Indiana, shocking the world, beating Oregon, great win. And Kurt Signetti is pretty darn fun. His interviews are great. Indiana doesn't have a single 5-star on their team, and they go into Eugene and beat Oregon, which I don't think a lot of people saw coming. But we said it last week. I was like, I could see Indiana covering, but I don't think they win, and they got it done.
Yeah, I mean, they ended up being the reason that our parlay doesn't hit, which kind of sucked. But winning in Eugene, I mean, the thing with Indiana last year is they were beating the teams they were supposed to beat, but then they would play the next class, like when they played Ohio State, like when they played Notre Dame, and they would get the floor mopped with them. This was not the case at all. And while watching the game, it wasn't something that was like fluky. I mean, Indiana even threw a pick 6. They kind of just dominated the entire game. I know it was close. I think the score was maybe a little closer than it was, but it's not very often you go into Eugene, Oregon, and the stands are empty with 2 minutes to go because the game's just over for the road team. So yeah, I actually have once we get into our question segment, I have a question that I'm going to ask you about that game because I think that was pretty shocking, honestly. I don't know how you felt about it.
That was, I don't know. There's a lot of thoughts about that, but I do want to talk shortly about James Franklin. I mean, the news that shocked everybody. They get beat this week, and he gets fired. What do you think of that, Jack? I mean, first of all, this kind of goes into my questions. One, is James Franklin going to coach again and get a job? I saw there was something in his contract about seeking work if he did get fired. 2, who gets the Penn State job? And that's kind of the big one. And I think there's a lot to talk about for the rest of the year when it comes down to who gets that job. And so let's go, first of all, what do you think of where James Franklin goes? What does he do from here?
Yeah, I definitely think he's going to coach again, and I kind of think he's going to coach again next season. Something that has made sense to me is like the Virginia Tech spot, and I think it's almost certain that Wisconsin is going to fire Fickell. So kind of I think one of those 2 spots where he's still, I know it didn't work out at Penn State, but you have to remember when he got the job at Penn State, they were almost coming off some of those scandals. They were not a good program. So he did do a lot of great things there where he's not unhireable, in my opinion. I think he's going to get a Power 4 job. And honestly, I think he would be a pretty good hire for a school like Virginia Tech.
I think so too. and I hope he does get a job. The second part of that question, I mean, there's so many people, but give me maybe five guys or three guys or whatever you want to give me on who you think Penn State gets the Penn State job.
Yeah, and I'll have a similar question for you, but I'm very curious to see if Penn State is going to go with kind of like an established guy that's maybe a Matt Rule type, Signetti. I don't know if Signetti would leave, but they're giving him a call. Or if they're going to go with a young and up and coming coach like a Dillingham at Arizona State, or a name that even crossed my mind was Alex Golish, the South Florida coach. But I think my official prediction, and this is going to be a little bit out of the box, is a guy who's actually not in college right now, and he's the offensive coordinator for the Bills, and Joe Brady. He was the offensive coordinator at LSU during that 2019 team, and he has a ton of Penn State ties with their boosters. He's a young guy, a little bit out of the box hire. I think that's going to be my prediction on who Penn State goes with as their next head coach.
Oh, I like it.
Do you got any? I mean, what are you thinking? Do you think they go? My question for you was: is Penn State going to go with an established older head coach, or are they going to go with a young up and comer who's maybe like an NIL portal savant sort of?
I think it's going to be a established coach, and the only reason I think that is because the market for it is huge. Like you're gonna have guys that have been head coaches that are, like we said a couple of weeks ago. Once one guy gets fired, like James Franklin, it's a domino effect, and it just topples everything over. So I think there's a big enough market to where they can go after an established coach. I do like the goalish one. I mean, Signetti's obviously up there. I don't know if he leaves Indiana. Uh, what was the other guy? I mean, Rule. I saw Rule's interview. He. I don't know about that one. Because you are in the portal era now, where it's if he leaves, Raiola's can go with him. It's
Yeah.
it's not a big deal to bring him with. I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But he also is another guy that has deep ties within Penn State. Um,
It's so interesting with the portal era because there's actually an advantage to go with a guy that has a really good team because then you're just like, all right, well, in his first year, we're pretty much going to be that team. It's what Indiana did with Signetti and James Madison had a great team. He went there and seriously brought the entire team and playoff in year one. And unfortunately, for whoever's going to take the Penn State job, playoffs are going to be the expectation in year one. You're not going to have this little roll it out period at a school like that. It's time to hit the ground running at a place like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Did you have another question? I had one more for you.
Yeah, so we kind of had the same question there, but the next question I had for you is going back to that Indiana Oregon game. Are you more after that game? Are you more in on Indiana being a legit national championship contender, or are you thinking maybe Oregon wasn't quite as good as we thought. That Penn State win wasn't quite as strong as it originally looked. So are you more high on Indiana or like down on Oregon after that game? It could
That's
be
a really
both.
good question. And I mean, I still think Oregon's pretty good team. I think that the Penn State win obviously didn't look as good now, and you got that loss against Indiana now, so maybe they're not as good as everybody thought. I also am high on Indiana here with Kurt Signetti. We talked about this. I think his record's 17-2 at
Yeah.
Indiana, and both of those teams being teams that played in the national championship last year in Ohio State and Notre Dame. So that is it's absurd. I mean, Kurt Signetti has that's what it's impressed me. So I am high on Indiana. I still don't think they're going to win the national championship by any means. I think that you can get a cup like one of these big wins, but I don't know when it comes to stacking three or four big time top 10 wins in a row. I don't think they quite have the dudes to do that, but they have enough talent to get one like in Eugene done, and we'll see how they are for the rest of the year. All I do know is that my over 8.5 wins for Indiana is looking phenomenal.
Yeah. You're going to need a nuclear bomb to hit the United States for that one not to cash at this rate. I kind of think Indiana weirdly could win the Big Ten championship. I don't know if Ohio State. I don't think Indiana's better than Ohio State. I just think maybe in that one game, but I do agree with you where a national championship still feels like a stretch. But at this point, you can't completely rule it out.
No, you got to put them up there right now. I would look. I mean, they have a pretty easy schedule, so they're going to make the playoff at this point.
I mean, I think that's all I had for questions. It was such a great week. I also noted down that well, one from our LSU game, you were calling this guy out the entire day before the game, and I hadn't really ever heard of him. And I went and looked, rightfully so. I think he got hurt in the first quarter of the first game, but Trey Des Green, oh my God, that guy is gonna be a dude on Sundays for a long time. He was built like a defensive end and
Like
ran like
LeBron.
Jamar Chase. He was unguardable.
Yeah, and the whole game. I mean, like you said, he played a couple games early on in the season. I knew he was a kind of a big name coming into the year, probably All-American tight end, then gets hurt, doesn't play against Ole Miss. Then they have the bye week, and he comes back and looks like the best player on the field, actually, for that game. That was an impressive game, especially for a tight end. Fortunately, our bet didn't cash, but we didn't really care. We were 10 Mickey Slims deep at that point. So
What a place that is. I mean, wherever you walked, everybody's got beer in their hands. There's people just towing wagons around out there. And I talked to the one guy and I'm like, hey, I'll give you for 2 beers, I'll give you $5. And he says, oh, well, no, it's actually $10. And some guy's like, I'll do that deal. And so it's like nothing you've ever seen down there. And
yeah,
we
we
got
saw
shouted
Mike.
out.
Oh, go
Fred's
ahead.
Bar. Fred's Bar.
I
What
was just gonna say,
place.
yeah, if anybody does go to Baton Rouge ever for a football game or whatever it may be, Fred's Bar, highly recommend. Jack and I, obviously, we were saying we were free balling it down there, and we asked probably 12, 15 people, hey, what's the plan for after the game tonight? Where do we go? We're from Montana, just looking for some options, and we didn't get one single person that didn't say to go to Fred's Bar. So we download this app, we show up at Fred's Bar. We've already paid our cover charge, and it's like an adult carnival. There's live music, there's just an open field of picnic tables, outdoor bars, indoor bars. Probably what, 5,000 people there, maybe?
Oh, I mean, there was probably 40, 50 bartenders working. I mean, that was the craziest thing about it. Like, you get a drink in 5 minutes. You weren't standing in lines, but
Yeah.
you could talk to people from Louisiana. We were from Montana. It was so awesome to experience that.
Yeah, would recommend, would go back. Unfortunately, we do have a long list of stadiums we want to see before we start going back and redoing other stadiums. But getting into week 8 here, we're done with week 7. We loved week 7. We were on the road for week 7. Getting into week 8, we've got about 7 games to break down. There's a massive slate. We wish we could do more, but we don't have enough time to break down 15 games. Otherwise, we would. Uh, First one, a lot of ranked games. We can start off with a ranked one off the rip. And that's the team we went and watched last weekend. Number 10, LSU, plus 110 on the money line, going on the road to Tennessee to take on Vanderbilt, number 17. Vandy laying 2.5 here, total of 48.5. And Jack, what do you think? I mean, these teams we got 33 matchups. LSU's won the last 10. Something to note there.
All right. Well, first thing I saw on this game when kind of going through it, this is Vanderbilt's first time being a favorite against LSU since 1948. And just because I was like, I have to put this in some sort of context on how long ago 1948 was, Velcro was invented in 1948. So Vanderbilt, the last time they were a favorite, there were no Velcro shoes. There were no Velcro jackets. We were only shoelaces and zippers. Vandy's also off a bye. I liked what we saw out of LSU. but that offense still is just not quite there. I think the defense is elite. I think they have the best corner in the country, in my opinion, with Mansour Delane. He is just an absolute lockdown over there. But you would think, after going down to LSU last week, that I'm going to ride with the Tigers. As a good friend of ours in college football community said, not so fast. I'm going with Vanderbilt -2.5. It's the only play I have booked so far. I'm gonna roll the dice with Vandy as a favorite. We haven't seen it with Pavia in the SEC, but we haven't seen anything against it either. So give me Vandy -2.5 this week. Very excited for this game early in the day as well.
Yeah, this is a crazy one. That's a funny stat you bring up because I was thinking to myself when picking this game, I'm like, I almost like Vandy as a dog more than I like him as a
Me
favorite.
too.
Like the dog aspect to it, I feel like just adds something. And that's what makes me scared about taking Vandy here. But I mean, let's break it down. We've got LSU, they won the last 10. There's a huge revenge factor with those. Um, Vandy coming off a bye and a
Yep.
loss to Alabama, so there's that. And then you look at the Bama game, and it's like they really didn't look that bad. They had opportunities to win that game, couple red zone turnovers. I still think that's a fine loss. They're still a good team. And then you look on the other side of things with LSU. Their offense hasn't looked great. But I mean, their offense has been 17 against Clemson, 23 against Louisiana Tech, 20 against Florida. We'll skip Southeast Louisiana, FCS team, and then 24 Ole Miss, 20 South Carolina. So they haven't scored 30 points unless they played an FCS school. So their offense doesn't look great, but their defense does kind of impress me. Like it's not like a horrible defense. They're 5-1, but they haven't looked 5-1. I'm gonna go Vandy. Uh, I mean, I don't love the 2.5. Honestly, I might just go Vandy money line. Just keep it simple because there's just something weird about this where I feel like it's just gonna be like a 1 point game or something. But I don't want to take LSU, so I'm just gonna go Vandy money line. I think it's like -130. So it's not the worst value in the world. It's a decent play. But yeah, Vandy money line.
Yeah, and I don't know how you felt being down in Baton Rouge, talking to the fans. They were 4-1 at the time, going to 5-1, but that was not the vibe down there. They felt not very happy with what they were seeing out of this team. And if I were a true LSU fan, this year would actually pain me because if you had the offense that you've had for the previous three with this year's defense, it's probably a national championship frontrunner. But the offense is just, it's just not there right now. It doesn't,
Yeah,
it's not
and
clicking.
and something about that is like Nussmeier, quarterback LSU. He was highly rated coming into the season, and he hasn't looked great. And I don't know if that's just him, but there's also rumors swirling that he's got an oblique and maybe an abdomen issue. He also sprained his ankle last week, so that comes over week 8 with us. I just don't think he's 100% good to go right now. And something you said about those people not being high on LSU and the Uber driver we talked to from Baton Rouge, we asked him how he felt about Brian Kelly, and he said that the Louisiana people are not fans. That's not anything we said, but from judging from what the Uber driver said he told us that information, and it almost makes me wonder is maybe he a candidate for the Penn State job?
That's honestly, I don't hate that call at all. They're ready. They want him out, from what I can tell. I don't think there's very many people down there that are happy with him, and maybe he's picking up on that vibe and he just goes on his own to somewhere else. I mean, he's never really been a Southern guy. It's definitely a Southern culture down there. I don't know. I just like Vandy this week, but I'm totally with you. I wish Vandy was just +2.5 just for the fact where they could say nobody believes in us because now it's like, well, somebody believes in you, and it's actually the most important person on the planet, Las Vegas. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna trust the books here. We'll go Vandy. Next game, We can just go straight down the list here. We're moving on to another SEC game, number 14, Boomer Sooners going on the road, South Carolina. South Carolina at home as a dog, plus 180 on the money line. Oklahoma minus 5.5, I think is what I saw it at earlier today. 43.5 total, and only one matchup. South Carolina won this last year, so little revenge factor for Oklahoma. A couple things on this. Coming from last week, Mateer was not 100% healthy. He did not look great. He did not throw the ball great at all. And I've been talking up this Oklahoma defense so much, but Arch gave him the work last week. They got it done. Both these teams, Oklahoma and South Carolina, coming off losses. I don't know who that really favors in this. I like I said, I have been talking up Oklahoma with the defense and everything, but I don't know. This is a really tough game for me to pick. This is a really good get up spot for South Carolina. However, I mean they've dropped a few games and they haven't been as impressive as kind of maybe everyone thought. So I'm almost half tempted to take them here. The other spot of this is Oklahoma has played one road game. Two, if you count last week, because that last week was a neutral field. So that's almost a road game in itself. And then the other road game against Temple, which you can't really count. So two road games you can't really count. And now they're going on going hostile environment. John Mateer really hasn't seen an SEC road game since he's been here yet. So this will be the first one. I'm going to take a shot here. I'm going to go South Carolina plus the 5.5. I think it's a good get up spot for them. They need wins because the schedule doesn't get any easier, really.
Yeah, something that surprised me that I was looking at, because South Carolina last year, I think we all remember, finished very strong. I think they were 9-4. But last year they were actually 3-3, just like they are right now. And I do believe in Beamer that he is a good coach and turn him around. But they got some serious problems on the offensive side. I know LSU's defense was good, but Sellers was just running for his life. It felt like all they had was kind of like the little play action boot. They were very horizontal, very quick. I honestly didn't like their offense a lot, but that was me watching the game 10 Mickey Slim Steep, of course. So the thing I looked at in this game is this season, the under in Oklahoma games is 5-0. Mateer only has 6 passing touchdowns and 6 picks, which is surprising to me for how good he looked early in the season. I'm going to keep rolling with the unders here. I think both these defenses are strong. I think Sellers is going to be running for his life again because Oklahoma does have a very good defensive line, in my opinion. And I just think it's going to be kind of a field position, tough to score. I'm kind of worried it might be a little bit of a square pick since the unders have gone 5-0 in Oklahoma games, but I'm going to keep rolling with them. I haven't booked it. I'm trying to see if I can get it to float up to 44, maybe.
Well, you know
But
what they say. You bet overs early and you bet unders late
let's
because
keep holding my cards.
more people want to bet for points, so bet the line up, and then you hit over on the last day. I don't hate that play at all, especially with the under being 43.5. It's the rule I live by. You got a high total, you bet over. You got a low total, you bet under.
Yeah.
um, doesn't always work, but makes
This
sense
is
in my
a this is a crucial game for Oklahoma in their college football playoff hopes. Because if they lose
mind.
this game, it's not over, but with how brutal the SEC gauntlet is, this is the kind of game that if you want to make it, you really can't drop.
Yeah, I
But
could not agree more.
I do
Uh,
like your South Carolina pick. I kind of think they're a live dog almost.
yeah, I think so too. Live dog at home, it will be a great environment, and it's just a great get up spot for them. It almost doesn't make sense why they're not more, because they were 9.5 against Mizzou when Sillers played. I mean, it,
Yeah, yeah.
and Oklahoma, I mean, they're better than Mizzou in my eyes, but they're less of a favorite. So it almost feels like Vegas maybe knows a little something about South Carolina. It just might be one of those funky games where they can get up and make it close or maybe win it, but we'll see. And it's a great point. Mateer's, I don't know, first road game. I don't know how healthy he is though, so I'm going to go against him.
It didn't look great last week. Didn't look great.
No, no, but that's a good Texas defense. We'll see how South Carolina's not not too bad, but
Yeah.
next game, absolute great matchup here. I think this is where game day's going. We're heading down to Athens, Georgia. 5 Ole Miss going on the road to number 9 Georgia. This is the Vegas special. Georgia favored by 7.5 as a 9 seed playing a 5 seed. Total of 54.5. 48 previous matchups here. 33, 14, and 1. Georgia leads the series, but Ole Miss got them last year. Jack, you go first. What do you got here? I've got a couple things, but not much.
Yeah, this line, first off, has been all over the planet. I think I saw it opened at 5.5 for Georgia, floated all the way up to 8.5, and then I saw it at 7.5. I think it's going to keep moving. It's going to be somewhere around a touchdown. I think we both agree on that. Ole Miss just officially battle tested after that game last week. I mean, doesn't get much tougher than that in your home building. But Georgia, I know their home streak was snapped this year against Alabama, but they are so tough at home. I'm having such a hard time picking these SEC games, especially this week. I haven't booked anything, but I'm kind of leaning between either taking Ole Miss in the points, thinking that Georgia just hasn't really blown anybody out this year, or I'm kind of leaning on the under here. Ole Miss, if you look, their offense actually isn't as explosive as you'd guess. They scored a bunch against Arkansas. So was everybody else. Besides that, I don't think they've broken 30 against a power opponent. They didn't even score 30 against Washington State, who gave up 59 in back-to-back weeks this year. So I think my gut is telling me to take the under, but we'll see. We'll put it out on the card. I'm going to do a little bit more digging. Great game, though. Great game.
Yeah. Well, for me, Georgia's defense really hasn't looked like typical Georgia's defense. They haven't really impressed me in any really big way or big fashion at all. Kirby Smart is cheating, calling timeouts everywhere, but then saying that he's clapping. And then last week is a classic look-ahead spot for Ole Miss. So I think they're looking forward to this week. They were ready for this week last week. But this is this is the first big road game for Ole Miss. They went on the road to Kentucky, but this isn't Kentucky. This is Athens, Georgia. The home field matters. Dogs all day, laying the points, whatever it closes at, -7, -7.5. Kiffin's not getting this one.
I got a question for you. If you're a head coach and you're sprinting towards a ref, do you clap like this or like this? I'm trying to figure out like,
We clap like this.
yeah, I mean, I've never seen like a coach go to the ref, sprint at him as the play clock's running down and give him one of these. Like, nice call, ref. I don't know what was going on there. So if I'm Hugh Freeze in Auburn, I going crazy in that SEC teleconference we were talking about last week.
But it's going to work to our advantage this week. Kirby Smart is going to get it done. He knows what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. Dogs minus the points there.
All right, I like it.
Now we get into a couple big rivalry games here. Let's start off with one of maybe the most underrated rivalries in college football. And we're heading down to Provo for the Holy War, where number 23 Utah goes on the road to number 15 BYU. Jack, what do you think here?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you saying this is one of the most underrated, if not the most underrated rivalries in the sport of college football. I don't want to get too much into it because it's pretty vulgar, but I saw there was actually already an arrest made of a BYU fan because of threats he was putting out on Twitter. So if you're curious, go take a look at those. I don't want to get too deep into them because they're pretty bad, but
the roots of this rivalry go deep, and it was ugly.
This is one of the rivalries where the fans actually hate each other. Like you can see it. But this line also makes zero sense. BYU is what? Are they number 15, I believe? I know they're undefeated.
They're number 15, and they are dogs at home.
Yeah, and Utah's higher ranked. Usually we're looking for the higher ranked team being a favorite at home. This is the higher ranked team being the favorite on the road, which is rare. You usually don't see that anywhere you go. So I kind of think I'm just going to lean Utah, and it's more of this line makes no sense play to me. I was pretty high on Utah coming into the year as well. They blasted ASU. Not going to put too much into that with Levitt being out. They got crushed by Texas Tech. But I do think BYU, similar to last year's BYU team, started off really hot. Kind of think they're going to regress back to the mean, regress back to what the books are calling on them. So give me Utah minus 3.5. I'm going to try to sit on this one, see if we can get it at -3.
Get the
But I
hook.
don't know.
Yeah,
This line's so weird. I don't super trust that it's going to go to -3 right now.
yeah. And I'll just give you a little history on the Holy War here.
Please do.
Like we said, these roots go deep. There's 97 previous matchups here. Utah leads at 60 wins, 33 losses, 4 ties. But BYU's won 2 in a row. And this is where I kind of side with you. I like Utah here. It's a funky line. I don't love the 3.5 because we could get burned on the hook there with that half point. But I'm going to wait on this, wait for it to go down to 3. This is going to be a great game. The Holy War, it used to be played at the last week of the season, just like all the other rivalries. And then there was conference realignment. They didn't play because of that. And then they did some non-con matchups where they played early in the year. Now they're kind of in the middle of the year. But this thing goes back, first game, 1896. And in 1896, they played twice. First matchup, Utah won 12-4 in spring ball in April. And then you turn around and they play in November, and the final score is 6-0. They're both of them 1896. BYU's won the last 2. Give me Utah. Money on the laying the points, laying the points.
What a game. And also, this game is just built to be the last game of the night. Like, this is the Pac. I know it's not Pac 12, but this is just Pac 12 after dark, going till 1 a.m. Probably going to have some great crowd fights videos coming out. And if BYU wins, get ready, Virginia, because your storm of the year might be getting topped. Because this is just an auto storm for when the home team wins this game.
Another rivalry. We've got 3 on the card this week. We are going to save the last one for the end of the show because we have a guest coming on. His name's Jack Burns, also a very big Notre Dame fan like myself. But we'll move into a different matchup right now. Big rivalry game. They call it the third Saturday in October game. It is number 11 Tennessee going on the road to number 6 Bama. Down in Tuscaloosa, should be warm. Bama laying 7.5 here, total of 58.5, and 107 prior matchups. Bama leads at 60, 39, and 8. Tennessee won last year, though, and that was an incredible storm.
Great storm.
That was awesome.
Remember the one 3 years ago? That was best storm ever. They took the goalpost down to the river.
But Jack, what do you make here? This is a great rivalry game. Obviously, Bama's looked great these last few weeks. You take that FSU game away, and they looked like an incredible team. But what do you think?
Yeah, this is sleeper in the middle of the season. This is sleeper one of my favorite rivalries of the year to watch. Great uniform matchup. I just love the crimson red from Alabama and the Tennessee orange. I wish, honestly, this was like USC UCLA where they both played in their home. But no matter what, this is just such a satisfying game on the eyes to watch. Tennessee has not won in Tuscaloosa in Alabama since 2003. Now, I know Alabama was the greatest team of all time from about 15 years there, so that is a little skewed. But they have, I think it's 2-2 in the last 4. The Dixieland Delight Bowl, because Dixieland Delight, technically for Tennessee. Not enough people talk about that. I don't know what I like on this game. This and the Georgia game, I was turning my brain into pudding trying to pick it. I think I kind of want to take Tennessee just because Alabama's been playing in a lot of close games, and I think Tennessee's offense can play with them. But I think I'm actually going to end up taking the over. Tennessee has scored 30 plus in every single game this year, and their defense isn't necessarily locking teams down. They gave up 30 to Arkansas last week, they gave up 30 to Georgia. Syracuse, week one, was up and down the field. So I like points here. Cannot wait to watch this game. But I still haven't booked anything yet, but it's probably going to be Tennessee or the over.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, like you said, this is a very, very tough game to pick. And I don't, I'm just kind of winging it as we go, making my picks because I really didn't have anything I super loved coming into it. But there's just like both these teams coming off a win. Bama's a good win on the road versus Missouri. Some people think Missouri's frauds. I just don't. They're not really a top five team in the SEC, but they're still a good football team. Um, Tennessee coming off a win against Arkansas. So both, decent wins for the SEC. I know Arkansas hasn't looked great this year, but their offense is still legit. And now that they've got Bobby doing everything, it just feels like everything's going a little bit better. And then Bama, rush defense, 94th in the country. That's pretty alarming. I know that this total is really high and they're probably going to be slinging it all over the field, but that's not something that you want to see. It's not something I think is sustainable when it comes to playoff time. But Ty Simpson's looked amazing so far. I don't really trust Aguilar yet, even though he's done it pretty much every week except for Georgia, and he still looked pretty good in that. But I'm still going to wait for this line to move. I think since it's a rivalry game, since it's so close, I think you get more Tennessee action here and maybe get this down to 7. Probably going to be Bama minus the 7 if I can get that number. So I'll put my official prediction on the card, but Bama minus the points for now.
Yeah, this game's going to be so much fun. It's just a great crowd too. I really am having a tough time deciding because I could see Tennessee winning this. I just Bama has been playing with their food a little bit, and but as you've said with Ty Simpson, I saw a mock draft this weekend. It looks like Ty Simpson might be the next New York Jet, first off the board, which a lot of people did not have that going into the season. So DeBoer, as much hate as you and I and anybody else has given him, the black hoodie of death. Maybe that's what I'll base my play off of. The black hoodie of death. Are we wearing it? Is it going to be 100 degrees and we're still going black hoodie?
I think
I need
so. I mean, at this point, he's got to wear it every week.
it's pretty much saved his job. One hoodie. Do you think he's washed it?
He did say he's washed it. He did say that.
Yeah, well, that game's rock.
Yeah, it should be a great game in Tuscaloosa. Like you said, Dixieland Delight. That will be thumping. And that will be an incredible atmosphere. I wish we could go on the road again this week and go watch that one. If anybody's listening and they got enough money to sponsor our football trips, we want to go every week somewhere different. So
Slip in some advertisements if you need before Lock Dog Parlay.
a couple commercials never hurt nobody. Moving on to the second to last game here. Great game here. I think it's a Friday night game. Number 7, Texas Tech going on the road against ASU. ASU plus 270 on the money line. Texas Tech laying 7.5. 51.5 total. 5 previous matchups. Texas Tech leads the series 3-2. And yeah, what do you think here, Jack? It's another one of those, like, I don't know. But home dogs have treated us well on Friday night, but I don't know if this is necessarily the spot.
Yeah, this one is very tough. An interesting thing that if anybody listening to this is thinking about betting this game, both of these quarterbacks, Morton for Texas Tech and Levitt for ASU, are questionable. It sounds like Levitt is going to play. He did miss last week, but Morton got dinged up pretty good against Kansas and went out in the first half and did not come back in. Texas Tech also lost a stud D tackle. He's number 0 D tackle. You know that guy's going to be a dog. He is definitely out this game. And for a good while of the season. But I don't know. Texas Tech, I think you can make an argument that Texas Tech has been the most dominant team in the country. They've won every single game by at least 20 points. Now, I know their schedule is not nearly as elite as some of those SEC Big Ten schools. I don't know. This is just such a hard game. I think I'm going to lean ASU plus 7.5. The Valley's going to be activated. Sam Levitt seems like he's just a dog where he's just not gonna get blown out at home. But this is a tough one. If Texas Tech blows them out, you got to put Texas Tech up there with the Miamis almost with how good they've been playing. It's
Yeah.
going to be a really interesting game.
Yeah, and this is I'm having a horrible time picking this. Kind of something you said about Levitt. I think Levitt plays. I think, they rest him last week and he comes in here. You got to win one of these two, last week or this week. You only have the one conference loss. You got a loss to Mississippi State, but doesn't matter. As long as you
Yeah.
make the Big 12 championship, your hopes are still alive. And I don't think they do that without Levitt playing. So I think he's 100% a go. I think that makes this line, when that news hits, this line will come down with him playing. So it will come to, I think it honestly gets inside of 7. I think it gets to 6.5, and that's where I'm hitting it. Texas Tech minus the points. I know it's at 7.5, but truthfully, it's coming down to 7 no matter what. Maybe 6.5. So we'll see. Right on cue, we've got the end of. We're just making our pick on the Texas Tech ASU game. You got any say here? We've got, ladies and gentlemen, we've got Jack Burns, another fellow Irishman with his hat on. I love it. What do you think about Texas Tech ASU, Jack? We got you on here.
Hey, I mean, first of all, super pumped to be on, obviously. It's super sick. A lot of Jacks in the building, so might get a little confusing at
Three amigos.
times. But I don't know, man. Arizona State's a little rusty. I think, especially like Sam Levitt, we just haven't really seen, like, I guess, the upside that we projected from last year, right? Especially the run they had in the cultural playoffs. So I don't know. I don't know what's the spread on that. You said it was like 7.5, 8 for Texas Tech.
It's 7.5
Right.
right now.
I'd probably take Texas Tech plus the money, dude. The defense or plus the points. Like the defenses look so dialed for them, man. Like I don't know. That's probably the best team in the Big 12 right now.
I was going to say they're probably the best team in the Big 12, and I don't really see any reason to fade them at this point. So
Well, I mean, let's get into the big one, boys. I'll
Let's
kick
do
it
it.
off here and then just let you boys go. We got a rivalry game in South Bend, Indiana. We got USC catching 9.5 points, I believe, at
this
home
one's
against Notre
moved.
Dame. It's moving. A lot of points there. I think probably two of the best offenses in the country. USC is right now statistically the best offense in the country coming off a big win. What do we think here, guys? This is, I would say this is a good old-fashioned elimination game. The loser is out and the winner is geared up to have a realistic shot of making it here.
Yeah. One thing we just started off hot. Rivalry game, Jack. We mentioned this earlier. We've outlined a couple of rivalry games this weekend, but this rivalry goes deep. It's 100 years old. We're battling for the Jules Shalehi, and it's this little club, this little wooden club, and it's pretty badass. Notre Dame has it at home right now. We've won the last two, so we also lead the series 50-37 with 5 ties. And yeah, I don't know. I'm obviously siding Notre Dame here. I've got a lot more to say, but Jack, let me get your initial reaction to talking about this game.
Yeah, I mean, rivalry wouldn't be a thing if Newt Rockney's wife didn't want to go to LA, during the winter. So kind of a cool thing, But yeah, I'm all for the Irish, dude. I mean, USC's
You're
Go ahead,
going.
go ahead.
So you're going to the
Yeah.
game, this rivalry
Going.
game. He's going. So what are you looking forward to as far as atmosphere of Notre Dame, as far as going to a rivalry game against USC, which could be the last rivalry game for these two? There's talks of them moving around because USC's in the Big Ten, but What are you excited for? What are you excited to see?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the number one thing is touchdown Jesus, right? Like, especially once you're in the stadium, you see that thing peering over the top, man. And then I don't know, man. I feel like Notre Dame fans I've heard are awesome, especially against a rival like USC. Uh, I'm going to say any profanities, but I'm sure there will be a lot being thrown around, especially being closer to the USC bench. But dude, I don't know, man. I'll probably cry, honestly, especially when those gold helmets come running out under the lights, man. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to contain myself, dude. It's gonna be unbelievable, and I'm so excited to watch this offense put up like 70 on USC. So I'm ready for it.
Well, and you said you're on USC sideline.
Yeah. Yep.
Is that okay?
Y-
That'll be
I
great.
actually got a quick question for you boys here about this game. I saw a clip last week of Shane Gillis, who is as big as Notre Dame fan as you two. Is USC your guys' biggest rival? I heard him say Michigan. I always thought it was USC. I'm curious to hear from you guys. Is USC the game you're circling and you're like, I cannot stand these motherfuckers and I'm cheering against them even when we're not playing them?
Okay, I'll go. I'll start, and I think Burns has got the same opinion here, and that's, I mean, USC, sure, but fucking Ohio State, I fucking hate those guys. We're not even technically a rival with them, but that's the one that if there was ever one to be circled, it's Ohio State. Now, directly related to your question, I would say USC over Michigan just because it's still going on. And shit, they've played for 100 years. So
Yeah.
I know Michigan maybe back in the day, prior to me being born. I wish I was alive during those days, but uh, probably was a great rivalry.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know if we're allowed to cuss. Yeah, fuck Ryan Day. Can't stand that guy, right? I mean, like, public enemy number one. The USC one's just kind of been tough. It hasn't felt that competitive over the last, I don't know, 8 to 10 years, right? So I think that's also maybe why the Ohio State one just feels has a little bit more juice, right? Just because like all the Ohio State and Notre Dame games the last 3 or 4 years, it felt like there's been this immaculate amount of pressure on it. Where like the USC games, it's like I don't know. Outside of Caleb Williams' sophomore year, the year he won the Heisman, like it's just been belt ass, and they've been
When we
sort of
picked
an
them off
irrelevant.
both times.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't know, man. I would definitely say Notre Dame over Michigan. I definitely remember the last Michigan game. That one was one of the more epic closing drives I've seen. I think it was Denard Robinson was their quarterback at the time. So yeah, but yeah, USC is the worst. I can't stand them. I look forward to beating them every year. So
I hope the rivalry stays alive. There is one thing I do want to talk about USC here is so they're a little banged up as a team. And this goes back to last week. I don't know if anyone saw this, but USC in the news for the wrong reason again. They get fined $5,000 last week. 5,000, not a huge slap on the wrist or anything, but running back Brian Jackson is listed as out versus Michigan and ends up playing because the other running backs go down. They don't really have a choice. So they had to play him. I think they knew they were going to get the fine going into it, but it's $5,000 fine. Who cares? But they're banged up, and that was just something from last week that USC's in the paper for breaking the rules again. A bunch of cheaters. We got the Reggie Bush push back in the day.
we can't do that. And
I
getting
think
Reggie
Matt
Bush's Heisman back, I'm still against it, by the way.
Lionheart and Grady Quinn were reenacting it out on the field. I don't know if it was today or when it was, but I saw a clip of it.
It was illegal. It was illegal at the time. I get the tush push is
Illegal
real now,
push.
but
Illegal push.
I don't know. And then they gave him his Heisman back, which I don't know. I'm still pretty sure that getting money illegally was still illegal in 2005, but whatever. It's not anymore.
There was
Not
no.
the SEC.
Yeah,
No.
yeah.
But
One
yeah,
thing I am a little worried about is Ashton Craig being out. I know that's something that happened last week, but out for the
He's
year
Notre
is
Dame. Center.
yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
but that's absolutely devastating. Like that one
Yeah,
hurts so bad.
usually, you don't ever want to lose a starter, but when you lose somebody that not everybody really knows, nobody ever thinks it's a big deal. But losing a center is a massive deal. He touches the ball on every single play, and that's a huge loss for Notre Dame. However, this offense has looked amazing. The defense has even looked great since those first two games. And CJ Carr, I mean, we're talking maybe a top 5 pick in the NFL in the next 2 years. He's looked unbelievable. I obviously am siding with Notre Dame here. I don't know what the line's going to do. I'll probably just wait until last minute and just book it at whatever it's at.
For
But
sure.
yeah, Notre Dame all day. I'm so
All
excited
day.
to watch this game, knowing that you're going to be there and you're
Dude.
going to have a phenomenal time under the lights. They might have, they do the night games and they give you them bracelets that match up, synchronize with everybody else in the stadium,
That'd be
get
sick.
that place lighting up, which is pretty cool. Hopefully they do that. Is this second night game for Notre Dame this year?
Yeah. Yeah. I think their last one was against Boise State, wasn't it? Was it Boise State in that game or no?
Is it
No,
A&M?
A&M. A&M was, yeah.
And they probably don't have very many for the rest of the season, so absolute great one to be at. You'll have football weather. It sounds like little
Yeah.
55 and raining, so
Yeah. It's going to be sick.
great.
Yeah, the offense is legit, man. The offense is legit. It's the best wide receiver core we've had since I can remember, man. I mean, when Faison and Greathouse are your wide receiver 3 and 4, Will Pauling has looked like a true wide receiver 1, and then you have an end zone threat. I don't know, man. And then like the running back combo is just Silly Kacharian is a wide or a running back 1 at pretty much anywhere else in the country, and he's backing up the best running back in the country. So.
Yeah, the retention on keeping both of those guys was unbelievable. And another thing, just about kind of the portal and Will Pauling, you just mentioned him. He comes from Wisconsin last year, I believe grad transfer, comes into Notre Dame first year, and he is a captain for us. So obviously he's shown a tremendous amount of leadership and ability to play football and to excel this team in the right direction. And the coaches trust him. CJ Carr obviously trusts him. He finds him quite a few times every Saturday. So
I know.
Going to be a great game. Jack Johnston, do you have a pick on this?
Yeah, I think this is going to be an over smash for me here. We've had at least 65 total points in the last 3 games these two teams have played. And I would argue, well, maybe not USC, but Notre Dame for sure. This is the best offense they've had in the last 3 years. USC is first in the country in yards per play, and Notre Dame is 6th in the country in yards per play. I think both QBs are great. Lincoln Riley, you know he's going to put up points. As much as you guys hate USC, he's probably the best play caller in the country. So I think this is just a fun game to have the over on. I want to cheer with Notre Dame with you guys. A lot of points. A lot of points here.
Yeah.
Huge win for USC last week. That was my lock, but Vegas not buying it.
No.
Yeah. Jack, and I don't know, does this factor into your over at all that it will be raining?
It's a good question. I mean, I can't dig too deep with my record, honestly.
You're
so far in the year,
still rocking it.
I haven't booked it. I'm not ruling anything out yet, but I just like these offenses, and I know Notre Dame's defense has been better, but they also haven't been playing USC on the other side of the ball. So I think this
Christian
is
Gray. Christian Gray might just be getting fried all Saturday in that range. So you just never know. You just never know, dude. I love the guy to death, but you just never know with him, dude. Not when if it's wet out there, it might just be. I don't know.
And hey, they got their number. This is USC Super Bowl. It's an elimination game for Notre Dame, playoff game. So a lot of pressure comes on this.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Moving in to our Lock Dog Parlay segment, we're gonna have the guests stay on the show with us and join us for this segment from here on out for the rest of time, because what's more fun than getting everybody's picks? I mean, what's better than 2, 3?
What's another leg on the parlay? Why not?
Exactly. So I don't know who wants to start off here. I actually don't have anything written down, so this is just. I'm just freeballing here. Jack, do you have a lock written? Johnston, do you have a lock written down that you had booked up for this?
Yeah, I actually do. It's the one pick. It was a game we talked about earlier on the slate. I'm going Vandy. I think this is one of those spots where we have the shittier ranked team is favorite. It really has been the one thing that hasn't let me down this year, that kind of line. Off a bye, and I just don't believe in LSU's offense right now. So I'm going to go Vandy minus 2.5. The lock is quietly heating up for me a little bit, back to 500. So let's get this thing over 500 and go 3 in a row on this week. So
I like it.
I don't know if they do V's up. This is not fight on, but like the V, Pavia, pissing Pavia. I need him to
Pissing
piss all over Brian Kelly's job.
We'd love to see
Yeah.
that as Notre Dame fans. So.
Burns, what are you thinking?
Dude, give me A&M minus 7.5 versus Arkansas. I mean, I don't know. New coach. I mean, not technically new. He's been around for a while. Montana guy, actually. But I don't know, man. A&M's defenses look great. Arkansas, I feel like they give up like 35 points a week. So 7.5 just feels like just free money. So yeah, give me 7.5 A&M over Arkansas, man.
Okay, so I am rooting for A&M. I'm not giving my lock right now, but I'm just going off what you're saying. I'm rooting for A&M for Notre Dame's sake. However, that Arkansas game is a deep-rooted rivalry that they used to play in Jerry's World. And now it's being played on campus in Arkansas. You've got Bobby Petrino. This is I'm not saying this is going to happen, but this
For
is a
sure.
lifetime contract spot for Bobby Petrino. If they go and they win this game against Texas A&M, where do I sign? Bobby Petrino all day. They scored like 30-something points against Tennessee last week. They still have a
That
good
is fair.
offense. But yeah, I'm rooting for Texas A&M. They've been my lock 2 or 3 weeks because they've been a dog and they've been great. Maybe the best SEC team of the year. Now I'll get
I
into
got
my
one,
lock.
real quick. One question about the Petrino lifetime contract thing. Do they put an exemption about like having a female on a motorcycle on there? Like, is that something where they're just like, you know what, lifetime contract, but you can't do this again, right?
Who big Stewie? Who cares? Who cares?
If Arkansas beats them this week, I think they'll buy him a motorcycle. You can do whatever you want at the stadium.
Put me on the
Okay,
back
Bill.
of that motorcycle.
All right, sorry, get back to it.
Well, that's going to be a great game. It wasn't on the card. We didn't talk about it, but like I said, yeah, that's a great rivalry and
Mhm.
lifetime contract spot for Bobby Petrino, my man. I'm going to a Friday night game. Texas Tech, Arizona State. It scares me, but I think Texas Tech's legit, and I'm just going to go them laying the points. I do think that we get the news, like I was saying earlier. I think we get news that Sam Levitt plays, and this line moves down to like 7 or 6.5. So I'm going to wait until that Friday game to book this. Might be like a late Thursday play or something, wherever I find it. But Texas Tech minus the points as my lock for week 8.
Heck yeah.
Texas Tech, already a lock winner this year. 2 weeks ago, I had them.
Yeah. They've been them and Texas A&M have been just cover machines, honestly, and it almost should be we bet them until further notice because they've been great. And let me ask you boys a question: Texas Tech versus Texas A&M, who you got?
It's a tough one. I can kick it off. I still think Texas A&M, barely though. I think Texas Tech is very slept on. They have SEC Big Ten money. They were the top portal class, and they are killing people. I think Texas Tech could win a couple games in the playoff legitimately from what I've seen from them so far.
Yeah, I agree. I it depends on where the game's located, right? I think that was what almost would swing my thing, but the physicality they showed against Utah alone had me stunned. I mean, especially if them coming out saying it's one of the best offensive line Utah's ever had, and like just physically dominating them on both sides of the ball was crazy. So I think they have that SEC physicality, and I don't know. That's a coin flip game. On a neutral side, I think I would probably lean towards A&M, but I'm not in love with Marcel Reed yet. So, we'll just have to see.
Great matchup. I would love that to see that happen.
Yeah.
Maybe we can even get lucky enough to see a good old Texas matchup in the playoffs. Moving on to the dog.
Do it.
Let's run it.
You got anything you love?
You can start us off, Bernsey.
Okay, yeah, I have Minnesota at home. They're -8.5. I think it's plus
Love
two
that play.
forty over
I love it.
Nebraska. I get the Nebraska 5-1, but they've squeaked some games out. Minnesota's been playing some real just like punch it down your throat football recently, and at home, I think the boys are going to be fired up. I think it's also a Friday night game. But yeah, I'm super excited for that one, and yeah, that's what I have. Plus 240, -8.5 just feels easy, and I'll take the money line on that all day.
Yeah, that's funny you said that because I have three that I'm choosing from. I haven't locked anything in yet, but Minnesota over Nebraska was kind of my swing for the fences play. I was high on Minnesota coming into the year, but I think the two I'm really looking at is Georgia Tech is a dog to Duke. I know we've been
Yeah,
talking about that line all year, but I just kind of believe in Georgia Tech and Haynes King this year. And then the other one, which I think I'm going to end up choosing, but nothing is official yet. I kind of like Auburn this week over Missouri. Missouri's first road game of the year. I know Auburn hasn't been impressive, but Missouri hasn't really. They played Alabama, they lost. Besides that, they beat South Carolina, and that's probably their best win. So I think this is a spot where Auburn can get on the board in the SEC, but I freaking love that Minnesota play so
yeah,
much.
it was juicy. And
Yeah,
I feel like also, I don't know, man. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
nope. You go ahead. I'll get mine after.
I just felt like Alabama was trying to give that game away to Missouri like so many times. So I like that Auburn over Missouri too. So that's all I'd say.
I could be a little jaded. Missouri was my dog last week. They let me down big time. So now I'm like, fuck Missouri. We're just going
Yeah.
against them.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you guys. I like both of those plays. I think you could go really anywhere on the board here this week. There's a couple spots I looked at with, Jack, you mentioned it, Georgia Tech. That's a weird one. I even looked at LSU. Um, Baylor on the road versus TCU is another one. We talked about it earlier with Arkansas. I think they're maybe live to win that in a rivalry game, but I'm gonna kind of swing for the fences here a little bit, and I'm gonna go Washington. Sorry, no, Washington's not at home. They're going on the road to Michigan. We are not going there. Uh, I'm going to go to something we talked about earlier. I took them plus the points. I think it's a great get up spot. South Carolina money line against Oklahoma at home. So how that goes.
Yeah, I don't hate that play at all. We talked about them being a live dog when we were going over that game in our card. So I like that play a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Moving on to
I mean,
parlay.
it's-
Oh,
yeah, let's do it, dude.
you want to go to parlay?
So
You got something to say about South Carolina? How do you feel about them?
It we haven't had the big Lenore Sellers game yet, right? Like I feel like we're waiting for it, and this feels like a perfect weekend for it to happen. Oklahoma just got ran by Texas. And I mean, you could argue like it's a bounce back game for them, but I don't know, man. That was like a pretty deflating loss, and for Oklahoma, it's got to feel like that might have been your knockout punch of the cultural playoff. So see what happens here.
Yeah, you're right. They've been so underwhelming, and Jack and I booked this LSU trip thinking they were going to be great and ranked, and they were on their way, and then they get a devastating loss to Vandy, and Sellers gets hurt, and then you got a tough one on the road at Missouri. So I just think it's time for them to get going. They got a home game finally, and yeah, I love them.
all right, so we
How
all
about it?
going one money line here, one just money line
Yeah,
play for
one,
three legger as Jack Burns expectations are low. Just calling
Okay.
that out. We've hit
Okay.
our parlay was so bad we decided to combine it into one, and we haven't had any luck on that either. I was on Oregon last week and burned us. So let's get some magic rolling.
Let's get it. Who wants to start?
I
uh,
got my leg down. I can lead off unless Chloe, do you have something you want to go with first?
I was going to go Georgia money line.
All right. I like that. Mine here is it's going to be a little less juice. It's not going to be great odds. It's also a Friday spot. I'm going to go Cal at home against North Carolina. North Carolina is so bad, and it's a tough travel spot for them.
Very.
They're Cal is minus 400, but I need a winner, man. I need
Gotta
a
have
winner.
one. Fair enough. I'm pulling out a non-Power Five school here. I am going the Mean Green of North Texas, against UTSA. A little fun thing with them. Last Friday they got their doors blown off them by USF.
We
Funny
watched.
story about that though. That was a Friday night game. They cut off class at noon to make sure they sold out. It was the first sellout game in Mean Green history. I think they fit like 31,000 in their stadium. This is also another home game, so you got to assume the boys are a little embarrassed after getting absolutely annihilated. So let's just hope that they're going to be, yeah,
It's a get right spot for North Texas. I love that. And they still have hopes to make the playoff. They can still make a run
100%.
in that conference and play USF again in the conference championship. So they're not completely out of it. I love that being them at home again and a get right spot for them for sure.
Yes, sir.
Well, let's get a winner. I like it. A little
Yep.
different
North
this week. I
Texas,
like it. Let's go.
Georgia, Cal. That's the three amigos parlay. The three of a kind. If we would rather go from pocket jacks to three of a kind. But Jack,
We go
thanks for
golf
coming
too.
on.
We go three
Hey, I
jack.
have one more question. I have one last question. It's a Washington State question, all right? I just got to ask.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, right? Yeah, coming in. You're obviously familiar with the Mean Green. I think they put like 50 up on you guys.
okay. Okay. Move on. Get to the point.
But moving on from that, Eckhouse looked really good, I thought, against Old Miss. So if he continues to get good, where do you think he's going to transfer?
Well, I would have to check his eligibility. Well, let me just say over there, the two QBs that Washington State with John Mateer and Cam Ward would be the two greatest quarterbacks in Notre Dame history. So we've
Oh,
got some talent over there. But I think we're out of eligibility with our boy Eckhouse. I think this is it. He was back up to Mateer last year.
fair enough.
Yeah, I might be on USC plus 9.5 all of a sudden.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just had
Hey,
that.
hey, he said it himself this weekend. He's like, well, our best corner this year is just going to go to Ole Miss next year. So, and then we'll take their three worst players.
It's truly one of the. It's a devastating run. It's a devastating. Having Mateer and Cam Ward is just crazy, man. It's crazy work. Oh god.
Oh,
Well, Jack,
brutal.
thank you for joining us for week 8. This has been incredible. Lots of laughs on this podcast. So hopefully you guys stayed till the end. But thank you so much. Have fun in South Bend. I'm jealous of you. You're going to have an absolute blast.
Yeah. Thanks, boys, for having me on, and go Irish.
Go Cougs.
Go Irish.